Here with me is Zoya, and my name is Unctious. This is going to be a PvP on Atlantis Spaceship, a very cool map, a very big map. And looks like the loading's done. We're going to get right into this. Let's go ahead and introduce our players, fighting all the way through this bracket for the $75 Playhem Mon Daily. Spawning as the blue Protoss. In the northmost spawning position, we have TSLinori. And spawning in the westmost spawning position, we watched a couple of his games. This guy is unbelievable. He's spawning as the red Protoss. He's from Team Prime. His name is Creator.
PvP. Both these players are very good. Inori was actually... I watched a lot of his PvPs over the weekend at the Gigabyte Esports LAN, and his Phoenix play, so much fun in PvP. So much fun to watch. So hopefully we'll see at least one of the games have Phoenix.
It really highlights, multitasking and micromanagement because they're so quick and they're so easy to move around that you can pretty much do something with them always. And the fact that they're always able to be moving all around all the time means that you're really going to get to see a player just kind of APM his heart out.
Yeah, it is great.
EPM his heart out.
We'll have to see what players are willing to open with. Both of them. Will they be opening with a 12 gate or a 13 gate, man? 12 gate from Inori. CreatorPrime gonna go before a 13 gate.
Oh man. Metagaming changing stuff over here. Metagame changing stuff over here. Nobody's ever done either of those before, so this is exciting. But probes and pylons, as you know, at the beginning of the game, this is pretty much all they're able to do right now. No cheese coming out from either of these players. There's quite a bit of money on the line, so they want to stay, and they want to show the best games possible to all the people watching right now. So we'll see exactly how this game tends to develop later on. Hopefully, we go further one game without a player forfeiting.
I did some math yesterday. Of the two players who have won the most Playhem dailies, it is, I believe, Rainbow and Revival? No, it's not Rainbow and Revival. It's not Rainbow. I forget who the others are players that's won the most dailies, but the money they've won from dailies alone, just from first place, not including their second and thirds, they both won over $2,500.
Wow. Playhem making waves, man.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And these two players trying to fight for their little bit to get involved over here with all that cash that's going out. Looks like Inori is going to try to do a little bit of harassment with this probe. Was able to deny mining for just a second, but now he's not really going to be able to do too much until his shields come back up. Meanwhile, Creator is just... I don't think he even sent out a scout at this point.
Nope. He is completely in the dark.
Yeah, he's just going straight econ. I mean, he loves his economy right now. He's got that first gateway. Getting out a Zealot. Warp Gate research comes on out. It looks like... What did I miss?
In chat, someone was linking links, and everyone thinks they're screamers because I was talking about them. No one trusts anyone anymore. All links are considered. That's what happened last night. Jorsar said that he's never going to trust a link from me again because you never know what it could be. I'm tempted to click some of these links as well to see what they are, but I don't know. I don't know, man.
I'm not doing it. I'm ignoring every last bit of that. That's going to be it. Anyway, we see a sentry coming out for Creator just to get that little extra bit of defense, and he only has one gate down at this point, and he hasn't been chrono boosting at all. Just trying to take out this probe so that he can be sneaky. But if you're not making a tech decision until you take out the probe, I think it's pretty obvious that none of your gas is going towards anything over here, and you really need to make something happen. Whereas Inori going ahead and grabbing down his natural nexus. So Inori showing us, hey man, I know that you're going to be teching up to something a little bit funky, so I'm just going to grab my nexus and be a little bit more safe. So, and it looks like Creator's going to be doing just that as well. The probe does go down eventually, but now the game turns into a macro game. This never happens in a PvP. I'm telling you, this never happens.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We get to see a macro. This is a good map for it. It's a big map. So getting away with it is pretty easy.
Yeah, for the most part. Alright, we see a Forge coming down as well. Inori just being as safe as possible, can get those quick upgrades, but also if he needs to, at a moment's notice, he can throw down a couple cannons, which should be able to finish up before Creator really pushes all the way across the map and really gets up towards the main or the natural. Now throwing down another gateway, and it looks like Creator has decided, in fact, on going Robotech, which is something that's kind of neat, but at the same time, if you're going Robotech, generally your army is a little bit more immobile as opposed to, say, Phoenixes or that Stargate play that we were just talking about. So it's kind of difficult to push all the way across the map and really get aggression going until you kind of build up that death ball, unless you're doing some crazy, Sentry Immortal thing, which you don't really see in PvP that much, especially after it goes into some sort of macro game, as we see right here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what each player wants to do. Robotics Facility finishing up for our red Protoss. Going to be getting that Observer out very, very quickly here. Multiple gates down for both players as well. Twilight Council being the tech choice here for Inori.
Which is neat, because now he has some options. I mean, if he goes Blink, he can take advantage of the fact that his opponent's army won't be able to move around that much, and if he pushes out, his Blink Stalkers might be able to blink over into the main of his opponent, or he can go DTs. He does have quite a bit of gas that he's saving up right now, so that's something that we could see out, but that wouldn't really factor too well for him, given that his opponent does have this robotics facility out on the map. There will be observers involved, but more importantly, Inori just kind of getting his defensive force up and going, grabbing a couple cannons, grabbing a cannon at his front, just to maintain that extra little bit of... excuse me, a little bit of defense and safety. That's the word. That's the one.
Safety. Safety is a good word.
Safety. That's it. That's the one.
Double gas being taken here from CreatorPrime.
Getting that robo support bay involved.
No additional gases at the base for Inori just yet.
Nope. Going Blink. So I like to see that, actually, because that's cool, because if there's not too many Immortals in that mix of units, you can kind of blink into position, take out those Colossi when they happen, or you can keep your opponent in his base, which we've seen players do so well up to this point, just by blinking up in there into the back of the base, and you actually have some space to do that, because there's this like cliff over here, got some cliff action going on over here, or if you can push right up towards your opponent's base and try to get them right in front of their natural, you can blink in over there as well. So diverse kind of play coming out, but it looks like Creator's moving out onto the map. He's got an Immortal in this mix. He's got a few sentries. He's just putting on some pressure, looking around, making sure that he can pick off anything that he can. And Nori, of course, trying to get that proxy pylon down, rather that forward pylon down, and will be unable to do so.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting mid game if Inori is able to abuse the fact that he has got an early blink. You know, harasses his base. There's a lot of opportunity, or a lot of places to blink into. He might be able to, take a better position, but with the faster Colossus, the faster Robo, the faster Immortals, just everything faster from the more late game units from Creator. I like the position he's in more than I like Inori's. It just depends on how Inori plays the blink.
Especially because PvP so often comes down to that, like, whoever has more Colossi battle, lasers coming out of eyeballs and stuff, but Inori is now going to have that very delayed Robotech if he decides to go in there. He does see that Immortal is out and that his opponent has a ton of units at the front, so now he has to decide, do I want to try to blink up into the main and maybe do whatever damage I can, because there's not that much that I can do to this army. There's 2 Immortals here, and those are going to deal so much damage. You can never blink on top of that. Like, that's never a good idea.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Third base taken from Inori. CreatorPrime not taking one just yet. He might just hit a 2-base timing here. Inori does have to back off. If he's smart enough with these Blink Stalkers, then he can just, keep CreatorPrime back home, which is what he needs to do. He's getting a Robo of his own. He's got Charge on the way. He needs to get this third base up and running.
Yeah, I mean, his biggest job right now is to delay, because if he has this third base up and running, that's when he'll start to be able to get back into this. Excuse me, I totally just burped in your face.
You bastard!
Here comes Inori moving on in. He needs to blink out of there. Just stay as active as possible. Now Creator's kind of uncomfortable because he can't really move out right now. His army just can't manage to do it. He has 2 Colossi, but even if he starts to move out, Blink Stalkers can kind of pick away from your army and delay every bit of the way. In fact, he's being so smart taking this third base. Creator looking really nice here. That is exactly what he needed to do in this case.
We'll like to see a second Robo come down for him as well soon. Start getting double cost correction. He's got upgrades on the way, +2 attack. Started where his opponent only has +1 attack on the way, both players getting charged, so Creator is just overall, even though his third base is a little bit slower, he's just overall in like a much more comfortable position right now, and I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be able to produce those probes off of 3 bases, and that's exactly where he wants to be, and now finally moving up towards that support bay. Charge on the way for both players, it looks like, but with the better upgrades in Creator's favor, any engagement, Inori can never really directly engage with this army. Either section of this army, he can never just directly kind of go right in. He needs to play that very fickle army positioning, and that's exactly what we see him doing so far. Now, we have Charge on the way for Creator, as I mentioned, and a robotics facility finally coming back out for Inori, so that should be his second one to get that double production. But now, is he going to go for straight-up Immortals, or is he really going to start trying to pump out those Colossi? Because his opponent definitely has this Colossus count up and running.
He wants to try and catch up on the Colossus count, but with Creator throwing down his second Robo a little bit quicker, he's definitely going to keep ahead. Like you said, he's already ahead on the Colossus, so CreatorPrime is just looking better in general. And I love how he split his army into 2 spots, the defender's third as well as his main. So he's just looking so solid right now. Observers all over the map, constantly scouting for CreatorPrime. I mean, Inori has to get the best engagement possible, or I don't see him taking this game. CreatorPrime is just ahead on every aspect right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Creator's looking so solid. He needs to throw down some pylons because I know Inori was just supply blocked. He threw down 4 pylons at a time in some attempt to get back into this. But being supply blocked, especially when you're trying to get your Colossus count back up to where it needs to be, that's never, ever something that you want to have to deal with. So here comes Inori trying to move in here, picking off what he can. He's going to be able to blink out of here. He shouldn't take this engagement. He needs to blink on out of there. There we go. Finally doing it. But 4 Colossi are out on the field right now, and I imagine more on the way. The thing is, Inori's... Creator's rounding out his tech path over here, getting this Templar Archives down. So now he can choose to flip-flop whichever way he wants. He can get Archons if he wants. He can get High Templar on the field. He has options, but it looks like Creator's just going to push all the way across, and this is going to be extremely hard for Inori to try to hold here.
All the charge lots are being funneled into these Colossus Blasts for CreatorPrime. I mean, he's already got a 30 supply lead right now. This is looking so good for him. Now, will he push the issue right now? I mean, he's got the Colossus lead, but look at that units tab. It's 6 Colossus to 1 Colossus of Inori. I mean, that is just a huge advantage. We see CreatorPrime is starting to warp in a High Templar as well. Might start getting Archons. Yep, he's already making 1 Archon. I mean, CreatorPrime is looking so powerful right now. He's got 2 attack already, or 3 attack on the way. I mean, he is just looking so solid. He does go back home. Not ready to push the issue just yet. When will we see that Stargate, though? When will we see him starting to make the push for the mothership?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we're going to have to keep track of. But, I mean, if he puts on this aggression really early, it might not even get to that point. And Nori might be more likely to try to do it just because he knows he's so defensive at this point. Now, he doesn't have any Archons, but if he starts transitioning that way, which he seems to be doing, maybe he can get back into this by getting 1 really good Vortex, you know, taking all of these Colossi, reset his opponent's Colossus count, and I'd love to see that happen. And Nori, once again, I mean, we say it over and over, he's just feeling so uncomfortable in this position. He can't really take a 4th. He's in this awkward spot where he just needs to defend, and try to keep his opponent from really pressing in before he gets an equal Colossus count.
Yeah, this is but Inori's max. He can't afford to get any more out. So the Colossus count for this final engagement is going to be 8-5, with 1 more coming out for Inori. Archon count 3 for CreatorPrime, none for Inori. And here comes the engagement. Charge Lots, this is not the best spot for Inori to engage. This choke is just so good for CreatorPrime, and he's going to push the issue, making Inori fall back. There is a proxy pylon in position. CreatorPrime taking this 4th base. Inori not taking one just yet. And, oh, will we see a possible base race? We have a bunch of charge lots going down to the 3rd base of CreatorPrime, or CreatorPrime's pushing the natural. We might just see a base race.
Yeah, and Inori really wants to push towards that direction, but I think CreatorPrime has the better army. He has a ton of pylons out in the field right now, and here come the charge lots moving into CreatorPrime's base. There's a cannon down here, but that's not going to last that long. Meanwhile, a huge engagement over on the north side of the map. Inori's getting pushed back all the way behind his 3rd. He just doesn't have a Colossus count to deal with these units. He has a couple Archons here, but that's going to be useless. Trying to use his Warp Prism to the best of his ability. Archons moving in, and charge lots moving into that supply line. That's going to go down. Huge blast coming out from both of these players' Colossi, but it looks like Creator, with this higher Colossi count, is going to be able to take this entire game, or at least that area. Meanwhile, back in the base, yeah, Inori knows he didn't do nearly enough damage with those charge lots, and his opponent was able to expand to that middle section, and he had the better army, he had better upgrades, he was looking so solid in every section of that game.